to ensure sustained competitiveness. And 2, the company should explore both organic and inorganic expansion initiatives to amplify its reach, springboard business growth, and gain more market share. The board has recommended that the company be authorized to undertake an acquisition transaction, whether by way of acquisition of shares of a going concern or through the acquisition of equity interest in a special purpose vehicle, and holds intellectual property rights and brand assets with the intent of securing beneficial ownership and control of the said intellectual property and brand in furtherance of the company's strategic growth objectives. In line with the company's expansion plans, the company has identified a strategic acquisition target within the beverage industry. Sequel to the shareholders' approval, the board intends to pursue the acquisition of its target in a bid to scale and inorganically grow its product offerings, market footprint, and earnings. Further details of the expected benefit is set out in the explanatory statement circulated to all shareholders. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now give an opportunity for questions and comments on the resolutions. Please note that the only matters that are to be discussed at this meeting must be in respect of the agenda of the meeting. Members should kindly ensure that their comments are brief and questions are limited to one per person, so that other members have the opportunity to ask questions or make comments. I also request that before asking a question or making a comment, you should kindly state your name. Kindly type in your questions using the Q&A feature chat box available on the meeting platform, particularly for those who are joining this meeting virtually, for recognition by the company secretary. Shareholders should also make appropriate reference to the resolution and or section of the explanatory statement where applicable to ensure that the right answers are provided. Thank you. The question and answer session kicks off now. I don't know if there are people in the room, physically or virtually, that would have questions to ask at this point in time. Floor is open. Let's watch for indication online. If somebody raises his hand or her hand, they can take the question accordingly. If there are no questions, that will make my duty so brief for this section of the meeting. Company Secretary, could you confirm that we have the presence of shareholders online to participate, particularly in this section of the meeting?
Yes, we have, and we have up now Mr. Moses Ayodele, whose hands has been raised.
So let's give Mr. Moses an opportunity to ask his question.
Please, can he be accepted?
ICT, please manage this section very well, so nobody's left behind, particularly those joining virtually. Is Mr. Moses in the...
Yes, Mr. Moses, we can hear you now. Please proceed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Moses, we are hearing you loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
This is my name, the shareholder. First, I want to comment in the area of, starting from appreciating you, the management, and compliment your effort. You have been doing very well as far as I'm concerned, but I want to seek, because mine is not a question, but to seek your assurance that all that have been highlighted will be implemented to letters, you know, that so that at the end of the day, the result or the goal of this exercise will be achieved, because partial implementation of your plan may not be okay for the company, but if we have the assurance that everything will go well as you plan, then we give you the full support, and all the resolutions as enumerated will surely be supported. That is my question, just to have the assurance from you that everything will be implemented to details. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. Speaking on behalf of the board and management, we give you that assurance. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I can speak on your behalf.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? ICT, please manage the virtual platform so that we get to know who wants to ask question on time. We can take question even here if there's any shareholder in the hall.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just to inform you that, say from Mr. Moses, whose hands were up, no other person's hands up, and we can give a little time and proceed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Within a minute or two, if there are no further questions, we go to the next segment of the meeting. Okay, I think we've exhausted the time for question and answer. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the point in the meeting where special resolutions are to be presented for your approval. I confirm that some shareholders have sent in proxy forms indicating how their vote should be cast. I will now call on the registrar to explain the voting process before voting commences.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, I will now proceed to explain the procedure for casting your votes. Prior to this meeting, we received and captured the voting details for 115 shareholders by proxy and holding 7,581,247,702 units of Champion Breweries shares, representing 84.72% of the company's issued share capital. At this meeting, we will be collating the votes cast here in addition to the proxies received to get the final voting results. Distinguished shareholders, you have received an online voting access and a unique token either via SMS or email. Kindly log on using this voting link and token, or refresh your screen if you have already done so. Once we commence the voting process, the resolution under consideration will be displayed. Please select for in favor of the resolution or against to vote against the resolution. Note that you can change your votes during the voting session, but once the voting period ends, the last selected choice will be recorded as your vote. The voting period will last for only 60 seconds. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Registrar. May I now call on the Company Secretary to read the special resolutions that are to be considered at this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One, to consider and if thought fit, pass with or without modification, the following subjoined resolutions as a special resolution. One, that without prejudice to the existing share capital of the authorizations obtained at the general meeting of the company held on December 4, 2024, the company B and is hereby authorized to issue additional shares up to 5 billion ordinary shares of 50 kobo each in the Nigerian or international capital markets, either as a standalone issue or establishment of capital raising programs by way of public offerings, rights issue, and or other transaction modes at price or prices determined through book building or any other acceptable valuation method or combination of methods at such dates and on such terms and conditions as may be determined by the board, subject to obtaining the requisite regulatory approval. 2, that the company be and is hereby authorized to accept surplus monies arising from the potential oversubscription from the capital raising exercise in such proportion as may be determined by the board, subject to obtaining relevant regulatory approvals. 3, that the share capital of the company be increased by the exact number of shares which will be offered in connection with the capital raising exercise and any potential oversubscription arising from the capital raising exercise upon determination of the terms of the capital raised by the directors. 4, further to the above approvals, the directors be and are hereby authorized to A, pass the relevant resolutions increasing the shares capital by the specific number of new ordinary shares required further to the resolution A3 above, and B, allot such said number of new ordinary shares upon completion of the capital market raising exercise. 5, that upon completion of the capital raising exercise, the following increase of the company's share capital and allotment of the new ordinary shares in accordance with the resolution above, the memorandum and article of association of the company be amended as necessary to reflect the company's new issue share capital. 6, that the board be and is hereby authorized to consent to approve, sign or execute any agreement, deed, or any other documents, appoint such professionals, advisors, and perform all such other acts, including the processing of regulatory approvals required, and do all such other things necessary for and or incidental to giving effect to the above resolutions. The board may authorize the company's management to perform any of these functions herein. And 7, that all lawful acts carried out by the board and management of the company on behalf of the company prior to the date of this resolution in connection with the transaction be and is hereby ratified. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Company Secretary. I hereby move that the subjoined resolutions are passed as special resolutions. Please, can anyone rise to second this motion?
Moses Ayodele Ogundeji hereby rise to second that motion after the assurance of full implementation from the board.
Thank you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Very well.
Okay. All right.
I hereby put this motion to a vote. And please, Registrar, please conduct the voting process. The voting process begins now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decisions. Let's exercise our voting rights now. Please press 4 if you are voting in favor of the resolution, and press against if you are voting against the resolution. We have about 35 seconds into this voting section. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your decision. We are gradually getting to the end of the voting section. But 15 seconds more left. We have like 10 more seconds. two more. And distinguished shareholders, the voting session has come to an end. For this resolution 1, with its subjoined resolutions, we have a total of 7,581,508,882 units, representing 100 of the votes cast in favor of the resolution. There was no vote against this resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Registrar. Distinguished shareholders, the results show that the subjoined resolutions are hereby passed as special resolutions. Company Secretary may proceed to resolution number 2. Company Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please read out the second resolution.
The second resolution
Yes.
is to consider and if thought fit, pass with or without modification the following resolution as a special resolution. That the company be and is hereby authorized to raise additional capital up to 45 billion naira directly or indirectly by such means as the board may deem appropriate, including via a special purpose vehicle through the issuance of security comprising convertible and or non-convertible notes, green bonds, hybrid security, or a combination of these or any other instruments in the Nigerian and or international capital markets, either as a standalone issue or issues, or by the establishment of a capital raising program or programs, whether by way of public offerings, private placements, and or other transaction modes at price or prices, coupon, or interest rates determined through book building or any other acceptable valuation method, or a combination of methods in such tranches, series, or proportions within which maturity periods and at such dates and upon such terms and conditions as may be determined by the board, subject to obtaining regulatory approval. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Company Secretary. I hereby move that the resolutions be passed as special resolutions. Please, can anyone rise to second this motion?
We have Moritala Afolabi's hands up. Please, can you enable
Moritala,
him or her to speak?
take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hereby second the motion.
Thank you. I'd like to put this motion to a vote and called on the registrar to conduct the voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, kindly proceed to vote for the second resolution. Please press 4 if you are voting in favor of the resolution, or you press against, you want to vote against the resolution. The voting process is on. Please cast your votes. Distinguished shareholders, press 4 if you are in favor of this resolution, or you press against if you are voting against the resolution. The voting process is coming to an end gradually. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session has come to an end. For this second resolution to raise the 45 billion, voting result is as follows. 7,804 units of shares voted in favor of this resolution, representing 100% of the vote cast. There was no vote against, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Registrar. Distinguished shareholders, the results show that the subjoined resolutions are hereby passed as special resolutions. Company Secretary, you may wish.
Secretary.
I guess you mean Chairman, but if it is Secretary, he has not yet spoken. Okay, so the results show that the subjoined resolutions are hereby passed as special resolutions. I now called on the Company Secretary to proceed to the third resolution.
Okay.
I think there is a cross. Company Secretary. Let's find that,
And we are not hearing you. Is it technical issue?
It's technical issue from you.
Company Secretary, you may proceed to the third resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 3. To consider and if thought fit, pass with or without modification the following resolution as a special resolution. That the company be and is hereby authorized to undertake an acquisition transaction, whether by way of acquisition of shares or a going concern, or through the acquisition of equity interest in a special purpose vehicle that holds intellectual property, rights and brand assets with the intent of securing beneficial ownership and control of the said intellectual property and brand in furtherance to the company's strategic growth objectives. 2. That the board is hereby approved to negotiate, approve, execute, and deliver all necessary agreements and instruments, appoint legal and financial advisors to take any and all actions deemed necessary, advisable or incidental to effectuate the proposed acquisition in 3.1 above, subject to obtaining all required regulatory and other relevant approvals. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary. I hereby move that the resolution be passed as special resolutions. Can someone rise to second this motion?
Yes, I do. My name is Moses Ayodele Ogundeji. I support the motion.
Thank you. I hereby put this motion to a vote, and ask the registrar to conduct the voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, please proceed to vote for resolution 3. Kindly vote. Press 4 if you are in favor of the resolution, and press against if you are against the resolution. We have 40 seconds more left in this. Remember, we have 60 seconds for this section. Thirty more seconds. Kindly vote in line with your decision. We are gradually getting close to the end of this process. Ten more minutes left.
10 more seconds.
Sorry, 10 more seconds. 2 more. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session has come to an end, and the results of the poll is as follows: 7,581,727,550 units of shares, representing 100% of the vote cast by shareholders present and by proxy, There was no vote against, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Registrar. Distinguished shareholders, the results show that the resolution is hereby passed as a special resolution. Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the proceedings for this meeting. I would like to thank you on behalf of the board for attending the meeting and for showing such interest in your company's affairs. I hereby declare the meeting formally closed. Thank you.